The following is a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.
Crossed Flags, a racing podcast. It's your midweek fix for racing news and information. Brought to you by the Championship Racing Network. Now let's head trackside to join your hosts, Steve West and Matt Nicholson.
Hey, welcome into Crossed Flags, and this is Old Home Week? I mean, we're literally at our homes again. It's been a few weeks since we've actually done this. A lot of it was on my end because internet was just all over the place. They've been out here several times. Let's see how this works. In the meantime, we have a couple of big stories to get to here. A little bit later on, we're going to talk about what happened at the Cup Series in Martinsville, because NASCAR has kind of been talking about this manipulating races sort of thing. I think Matt's got something to say about that. But first things first, let's talk about the end of that Formula One race down in Mexico City. Where do we begin?
Don't know.
Coming up on the big show on Saturday, we're going to talk about marshals running across the track. We'll leave that for then. Matt, let's talk about the end of the race. And
ooh, boy.
Yeah. Now, if you look at the top 10, and producer John is going to show you the final top 10 here in just a minute. There we go. And overall, I wouldn't call it a ridiculous stretch to say that this is kind of some of the things that we might have been able to expect. Say for maybe that guy that's sitting in position number 4. Look very closely at that guy sitting in position number 4 right there. Yes, indeed, that is a Haas F1 car. And it's the rookie, Ollie Behrman. It's not the veteran Esteban Ocon, who, by the way, does sit inside the top 10. So a nice double points day for Haas F1. But the question is, would he have actually stayed in that position had the race stayed green? And that's what we want to talk about. So we're going to keep this top 10 up here for you for a couple more minutes. And John, I think, is working on making it a little bit smaller so you can keep an eye on it. Lando Norris comes out of Mexico City. He's now your new championship points leader, because Oscar Piastri finishes behind the rookie Ollie Behrman. And that means that Lando Norris jumps him by 1 point. And oh, by the way, there's Max Verstappen sitting there in third place, as you can see. And because Max is in third, he closes the gap a little bit because you've got the two McLarens who are fighting it out. But positions 2 and 3, and then positions 4 and 5 were starting to be contested as the race came down to its final 2 and 3 laps. Max Verstappen was catching Charles Leclerc in the Ferrari, and Oscar Piastri was catching the Haas F1 of Ollie Behrman. And then we had a Williams car have a problem. It doesn't matter which Williams car, but it was Carlos Sainz, if I remember correctly.
It was. Yep.
Here's the thing. I can't find a picture. I can't find video. Not that we could air the video here. Of any way, shape, or form that where Carlos Williams' car came to rest was in any way going to interfere with the finish of the race. Can you?
No, absolutely not, because I'm sitting here going, where's the car? Where's the car? Where's this? Where's this? Where's that? And there's nothing to be shown.
And I wasn't watching on ESPN. I take that back. I was watching on ESPN. I was not listening. I listened to the first half of it on the car radio. And the commentators are different over the radio than they are on television, obviously. Well, I listened to the first half, so I don't know what it was that they said about it, but I do know what Sky Sports said about it as we saw it on ESPN. And they said at one point in time, while they didn't even release the safety car. The safety car was still behind pit wall. It was a virtual safety car. And that's the same thing, according to Formula One rules. A virtual safety car is the exact same thing as a safety car, period. It's like the pace car is out there on the track. So they all have to slow down. No passing, unless, of course, somebody has a mechanical problem and drops out of the way. Well, that's
or the field can't bunch up.
Well, that's also true. Yeah, you just have to
Maintain pace.
Yeah, you just have to maintain the pace you were at. And it was just weird because the virtual safety comes out and it is shown while the white flag lap is ongoing. Okay.
For a half a lap.
Yeah. And actually, I would say it this way. It was probably shown initially to the field about a half a lap before they took the white flag. And then they're taking the white flag under the virtual safety caution. And about halfway through that lap, they revoke the virtual safety caution and let him run for half a lap? What? That's not even a decent sprint to the finish. That's just, we'll go ahead and give you a chance to run at full speed so that we're not finishing technically under yellow.
I don't even know where it would have mattered because as far as Lando Norris was ahead, he was in Panama, and the other ones were in Mexico City still fighting it out.
Yeah.
He was that far ahead of everybody. So why do you throw it for only a half a lap? You don't show where the car is or show the car off the track or show anything on the track to impede the event. But then, let's throw it for half a lap. What?
Yeah, I don't get it. It would have been interesting because here's the thing. I mean, yes, Max Verstappen was closing in. You know this probably even better than I do. You're the guy behind the wheel by trade, but I've watched enough racing over the course of time to learn this. Catching a person is one thing. In other words, you are in the position of Max Verstappen, or I'll put you in the position of Oscar Piastri. I don't care which. Really doesn't matter in the end. But I'll put you in the position of the chaser. You're chasing after me. Catching me is one thing. Then you got to pass me, and that's something else entirely, and that's not as easy, is it?
Not easy at all. It don't matter which level of motorsports you're at. It's not easy at all. So you gotta, as my mentor always told me, you gotta catch them sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
You got to catch them sleeping to execute a clean pass.
Okay. And from what you saw out of Charles Leclerc or what you saw out of Ollie Behrman, do you honestly believe that it would have been easy for Max Verstappen to get around Leclerc or Piastri to get around Behrman?
Verstappen, no. Piastri, yes.
I think it would have been easier for Oscar Piastri to do it.
It should have been. We'll say it that way. Should have been.
But in the end, you still got to do it. And that's the trick.
You got to find a way.
Yeah, and that's the trick. And there's no guarantee that it would have happened. So I'm not sitting here trying to state that Formula One should give any position to anybody else. The results are the results. That's not going to change. Formula One's not going to change, and it doesn't matter how much Verstappen and or Piastri complain about it. And in the end, what it does mean is that Ollie Behrman has now matched the best finish ever by any Haas F1 car in their relatively short history of about a decade. Congratulations to them again. But it is curious because we have never gotten much of an explanation, but I will read this. After the race, FIA officials released a statement, and it said this, quote, on lap 70, Sainz spun, stopped in the runoff area outside turn 14. Car came to a halt in an exposed position. Again, we have no video on that. The car subsequently began smoking. Race control received notifications of fire, making it clear marshal intervention would be required for recovery. As is standard procedure, when marshals are deployed to recover a car, the race is neutralized. In this case, a virtual safety car triggered until the car was moved to a safe location behind the barriers and ended as soon as the car was in a protected position, and the race concluded under green flag conditions. So the car's on fire, but they still moved it?
I'm not buying that.
Neither am I.
I'm not buying that because where they would have had to hook to the car to get it to come off of the track is under where the gearbox is, and most of the fires and everything that happen on those cars happen in that area.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not buying it.
I really would like to see video of this, and I doubt we'll ever get the video of it, truth be told, but if Piastri and or Verstappen are complaining, and last I heard, Max Verstappen's actually pretty good with what happened. He said, hey, racing's racing. Piastri has been, I'll just say, strangely quiet.
Yeah, very.
But if either one of them were to complain loudly, I understand exactly where they're coming from on that.
Absolutely.
Totally. We'll see what happens. I don't think anything actually will technically come of this. The results are going to stand. They're got a week off this weekend. Then they're going down to Brazil. We'll see what it is that F1 states. We'll see whether or not they release any video of this and actually show the fans what the heck happened here. But I'm not going to go holding my breath. Let's put it that way. I'll turn red and blue and any other shades of color that you could possibly hold long before I think the FIA or F1 ever come up with video on that for us. So with that said, and Matt's kind of on a schedule here, let's get to subject number 2. And we need to do this because, after all, we need to make sure that we cover NASCAR. It's a very important thing. If you remember last week's Crossed Flags episode, you might know what we're talking about there.
Very important.
It's very important that we cover NASCAR. We have to cover NASCAR because if we don't, God forbid, we might actually not be considered legitimate, according to some people. All right. Let's actually get serious about talking about it now, shall we? Let us show you the 4 drivers who are going to be vying this weekend in Phoenix for the Cup Series Championship for 2025. And you'll notice here that this is the top 8, the 4 on the right-hand side. Those were the ones that were eliminated after Martinsville. The 4 on the left-hand side, those are your championship contenders. There are guys who have experience in vying for a title, as 3 of the 4 actually have raced for a title before. William Byron's raced for a title before. Denny Hamlin's raced for a title before on multiple occasions. And Kyle Larson not only has raced for, but has claimed 1 championship. The novice, rookie, whatever you want to call him in this particular case, is Chase Briscoe. But here's the thing about Chase Briscoe. If I remember correctly, when you and I were doing our Championship 4 predictions and our predictions for the playoffs for all 3 series, you and I both predicted that Chase Briscoe would be exactly in the position that he's in right now.
Yep.
So this really does not come as a surprise to either Matt or myself. The minor surprise is Denny Hamlin. Now, I know, Matt, you picked him to make it to the Championship 4. I didn't. But it was not because I felt like he wasn't a talented enough driver or that his team wasn't talented enough. It's that up to this point, even though he's appeared in, I think it's 4 championship appearances for Denny Hamlin, it always seems like the 11 team finds a way to mess up.
Yeah, that has been the trend of many, many, many years past when they've been in position to do so.
But here's the funny thing. To me, the biggest trip over their own feet happened way back in round 1, when it really, you have the best opportunity and best motive or best means to actually be able to avoid being bounced out of the title run, because in the round of 16, he had a lot of movement there. He had a lot of cushion there. So to me, their mess up may have actually happened during the first round, the round of 16. And if that's the truth, then, you know, here's me going, hey, mea culpa to the 11 team. Congratulations. And I'm certainly not going to say that they're not deserving of being where they are.
Right. They've bounced back very admirably, because I agree their worst round was the round of 16 for sure.
Yeah. And Kyle Larson, he's just been what Kyle Larson is. He and Chase Elliott have one thing in common. As Hendrick Motorsports teammates, they really have the ability to just, to borrow another sports phrase, drive the ball down the fairway, hit it safely every time, get it up there and par every single hole, or in this case, just find themselves consistently placing top 15, top 10, top 5 every single race. They're always up there just accumulating points, and every once in a while they grab a win.
Yeah.
And that's what Kyle Larson's been doing. He's just been that steady guy.
Yeah.
So Denny Hamlin won the first round of the round of 8 in Vegas. Chase Briscoe kind of surprised a few people by actually claiming the win at Talladega. And of course, William Byron wins last weekend at Martinsville. But while William Byron had a great car, and he did, pole position, led the majority of the laps by far, it's the guy who finished in second that we want to talk about for a moment, because the guy who finished in second place, Ryan Blaney, had a rocket ship. Started way back in the 30s and bided his time at the start of the race for about the first, what do you want to call it, 20, 25 laps or so. Let everything kind of string out and start to get single file for the most part. And then all of a sudden, he was able to hit that go button, and he just started knifing through the field. Yeah. And sure enough, finds himself at the front, was leading the race for a little while. But race manipulation has been one of those things that NASCAR has been complaining about. And here at Martinsville, where we're talking about, that's been a problem here over the last couple of years.
A big problem.
And there's some evidence to say that there might have been a little bit going on here. If you look at what, for example, the Chevrolet of Michael McDowell did in letting William Byron fly on by with zero problem, and then suddenly found his car much harder to pass when Ryan Blaney was coming up.
Yeah.
You're already lapped.
Yeah.
What are you holding up the field for?
Yeah. One thing that I always was taught when I was coming up through the ranks is you can read how are this? You can read how a car is moving on the racetrack versus by what the driver is doing with said car.
Okay.
If he's playing defense, if he's on offense, or however you want to look at it.
Okay.
When the 24 car got out front and the 5 car was in second, it is very hard for me to believe that Larson was not running blocker for him, because the only way that those two get in is if Byron wins. Larson is P2, no worse than P3.
True.
All right. I'm going to back up to Ryan Blaney here. You've got a car that can slice through the field and make passes with ease, that easy, but you can only qualify 31st.
That is an interesting question. Did he mess up? I didn't watch qualifying. Did he mess up somewhere? The car slip up somewhere?
I didn't see where he messed up.
Okay.
And you was qualifying in the time of day that you were running said race. Okay.
Should have been pretty much the same car.
I find it hard to believe that some of this was not staged up. I find it hard to believe.
Okay. Stage up to accomplish what?
Drama. Manufactured drama.
Okay.
Playoff implications. Whatever.
Sure.
Okay. You've only got a handful. I'm gonna word it as a handful. Out of the 37 that started the race, you've only got a handful of cars that can pass cleanly.
True.
24, 12, 5, and 20.
Would you count the 22 among them? Because he was kind of up there for a little while.
22, yeah. You could put him in the handful.
Okay.
5 cars.
Okay.
What 5 cars are in the thick of everything? Those 5 that I named off.
And John, let's put that top 4 up again here real quick on the screen.
But nobody else could pass good.
Well, and let me bring up another point here. Looking at this top 4. So Larson and Byron are rolling on 22, 20, 12. They're all doing very well, right? Remind me what happened to the 19 and the 11?
Boom.
Engine problems.
They had a cushion. They were safe. So Joe Gibbs sits there and says it's a bad batch of parts They come through, and we guarantee that it will not happen again at Phoenix.
I mean,
personal foul on the offense.
Is it possible that they got a bad batch of parts? Yes, it's certainly possible they got a bad batch of parts. I do find it interesting that it was only affecting the 19 and the 11 car.
They were experimenting something for Phoenix.
Had to be.
You cannot tell me they weren't.
Had to be.
You can't tell me they weren't.
No, I agree wholeheartedly with you.
They were trying something in that gray area to see, can we get this or is it going to work? No, we're gonna grenade a $200,000 engine just to see if it's going to work or not.
But TRD is willing to take that chance so that they can put somebody in victory lane, either Hamlin or Briscoe, and claim the title this year. They're willing to take that for that title. I can guarantee you that.
Sure. Absolutely.
Because here's the thing about the three teams. I'll go ahead and include Team Penske in this because we know Roush Yates engines are just ridiculously reliable. Hendrick Motorsports engines are notably reliable. And when was the last time we heard of a TRD engine blowing up? I can't remember when a TRD engine blew up.
The last TRD engine I remember letting go, I think it was Darlington 2 years ago when Ty Gibbs, when it blew, a head gasket blew in the spring race, and there was a shot of it with the noted chocolate milk with oil and water and antifreeze coming out the headers.
Yeah.
That blown head gasket.
So think about this for a minute. It's not just the 19. It's not just the 11. It's another car that actually had no bones in the fight. The 2311 number 35 car driven by Riley Earps also had an engine go. So again, you got three cars who really have nothing to fight for. The 19 and the 11 are already locked in, and Riley Earps is so far out of the playoffs he can't see it with a telescope. But they're able to put engines under the hoods of those three cars that might just give them something that they can learn for Phoenix this coming weekend, right?
Yeah.
So all three of them have a major problem. And we're not the only ones questioning this. I'm hearing some pretty noted people that are going, seems a little bit on the funny side there. And they're saying the exact same thing that you are. TRD's trying something and seeing if it worked. And apparently it didn't.
Because if you can run a said engine component, whatever that component may be, and it can get you an extra 100, 200 RPMs, 300, maybe, and you're within the boundaries of the rules, you doggone right, I'm gonna try it.
Sure.
You're doggone right. But when Joe Gibbs immediately is sitting there and saying, well, we are sure that it will not happen in Phoenix because of a bad batch of parts. In the words of Steve Harvey, survey says, you're sitting there saying you're trying something.
Yeah. Just admit it. I mean, here's the thing. Hendrick Motorsports, being in their position, would have done the exact same thing. Team Penske, if they were in that same position, would have done the exact same thing. We both know it. It's this untold secret. It's the unwritten rule, if you want to put it that way, to borrow any number of other sports cliches. They're all going to try and find something that's going to help them out and see if they can't advance themselves, because in the end, they're all looking out for themselves. Roger Penske would have loved to have made it 4 titles in a row. Hendrick Motorsports would love to get Kyle Larson his second title or William Byron his first. And here's the thing. Joe Gibbs wants to see his cars and would have loved to have had 3 cars in the finals if he could have gotten Christopher Bell in there. But the Hendrick Motorsports guys, as we talked about, kind of played a little gamesmanship. I'll just leave it at that. Legal gamesmanship, at least according to what NASCAR ruled. They're all going to try and find an edge. That's their job. Find an edge, because in the end, I want my team, Penske, Hendrick, Gibbs, whatever it is, I want my team in victory lane. I want my team hosting the championship trophy at the end. That's the goal.
Yep.
So admit it. Nothing wrong with it. Admit it.
Nope.
Everybody knows you were doing it. What are they going to do? Are they taking the engines to the R&D department? I don't think so.
No.
You got no reason to.
Nope.
There was nothing that said this engine needs to go to the research and development center over there in in Concord. So I doubt seriously they got pulled. One of them maybe just by random note, but not that we heard. So just admit it.
Yeah.
Put it out there.
Yep.
All right. We're going to be doing the big show Saturday morning, which means we'll be doing it the day after the Truck Series race. I'm just going to ask the question here real quick. Who do you think's hosting the Truck Series trophy at the end of it, as if you and I aren't both going to say the same name?
Considering that there's been choke jobs pulled before when the spotlight's on him, I'm going for an upset winner. I'm going Caden Honeycutt.
Interesting. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see him do that. We talked about it last Saturday on the big show. It makes a great story. Guy who got released from his team midway through the season latches on with the team whose driver got seriously injured in some extracurricular outside of the Craftsman Truck Series racing, and they're fighting for an owner's title as well. I'd love to see it. I think it would be a great, great story to have Caden Honeycutt winning that Hallmark Friesen truck. But what I'm seeing out of Corey Heim, I'm not seeing him fold. We'll see.
Yep.
But I'm going to go Heim. Saturday, Xfinity Series race. What are you thinking?
Honestly, I think it's going to be the 88s to lose.
I can agree with that, but I will state this. Do not be surprised if Justin Allgaier walks away with championship.
Oh, you can't turn an eye to Justin Allgaier.
No,
you can't.
I would not be surprised. To me, it's between the 88 and the 7 car. I think it's one of those two.
Yep.
You picked Denny Hamlin to win the title in the Cup Series. Are you sticking with that, knowing the 4 that we have?
I'm sticking with it.
Okay. I've been debating this for a long time. And there's a part of me that would love to go Chase Briscoe, because that's my guy. You look behind me right here, you see a number of 14 cars. Who was the last driver of the 14 car? It was Chase Briscoe. He's become kind of my guy. I would love to see him win it. I don't think it would terrifically surprise me if Hamlin walks away with it, but I get the funny feeling it's going to be a Chevrolet that's going to be there. And I'm going to go Kyle Larson. Against almost my better judgment, because I think William Byron has the more level head. Kyle Larson can get in his head and actually overdrive the car depending on the conditions. Yeah. But I'm going to go Kyle Larson over William Byron by that much. So there's our predictions. There you go. There you have it. All right, Matt, you've got some coaching stuff to do because your season finale is this weekend, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, the regular season finale.
Okay.
We got a bonus week that we learned about yesterday.
Oh, nice. Okay. And what's the story? How much of the show will you be in person, or if you are you going to be?
I will be there for first 2 segments Saturday, and then drive time to said location for the remaining part.
Okay. So you'll be in person for the first 2 segments, and it's by phone for as much as you can.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'll do my level best to make sure all the connections are proper, Producer John. So be prepared for that. Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Central Time. Join us for the big show right here on CRN Live on YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe down below. Of course, we're also on, don't forget, talk995.com, realtalk995.com on YouTube. You can subscribe there and get it. JocksFMTV.com. Go ahead and get it there if you choose to. Or if you're just looking for the audio side, you can get it on Spotify now. Thank you to Producer John for all that. And to Producer Molly for making sure that we get everything taken care of on all the different platforms. Matt, we'll talk to you, and I'll see you on Saturday, and we will see you on Saturday as well. Thank you very much for checking out this edition of Cross Flags.
You've been listening to Crossed Flags, a racing podcast. For more content like this, subscribe to CRN Live on YouTube and you'll be set to catch the 2-hour live show every Saturday morning at 9 Eastern, 8 Central.
This has been a presentation of the Championship Racing Network.